Welcome. Today we're taking a deep dive into something really interesting, a shift that's happening right now, and it's poised to, well, fundamentally change how you find and buy things online, especially maybe that perfect jacket or, accessory you saw someone wearing. We're looking at what we're calling the fashion algorithm, this whole brewing AI shopping race, and the intense talent war that's driving it. We've been looking through some sources, including articles that really lay out how AI is set to just massively disrupt the e-commerce landscape, which is what, a $1.2 trillion industry in the U.S. alone.
That's the scale we're talking about. Huge.
And then another source zeroes in specifically on, okay, how does all this apply to fashion e-commerce?
Right.
So our mission in this deep dive is to really unpack what these sources are telling us, like who are the major players making moves, what are they actually building behind the scenes, and probably most importantly, what does this huge change mean for you? Whether you're, a dedicated online shopper, maybe you own a brand, or you work somewhere in the fashion industry. Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah, what's really fascinating, I think, is how AI is moving beyond just the simple product recommendations we all see on websites.
Okay.
The sources are pretty clear that these new AI tools, they're getting ready to potentially step in and, well, bypass those traditional websites and apps altogether for certain things.
Wait, bypass them? How does that actually work? Does that mean I won't even go to a brand site anymore?
Well, not necessarily never, but yeah, for certain tasks, maybe. Imagine you're interacting with sophisticated chatbots or these automated AI agents.
Okay.
And these aren't just like glorified search bars. They can understand really complex requests. Maybe you combine criteria like, find me a blue rain jacket, needs to be good for Seattle weather next month, under $150, and made from sustainable material.
Right, that's a lot more specific than just typing blue jacket.
Exactly. And instead of you opening, say, 3 different retailer apps and searching each one individually, the AI agent, kind of behind the scenes, could potentially access product info from loads of sellers, compare those options based on everything you asked for, handle checking sizes, availability,
Wow.
and maybe even complete the purchase for you, all without you needing to load up those individual sites yourself. It's a potential shift from you doing the browsing to an agent doing the shopping for you.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty significant shift, actually.
Yeah.
If that's the direction things are heading, it totally makes sense. Companies would be, gearing up.
Absolutely.
Which is where the sources point to this real talent war brewing, isn't it? Who are we seeing jumping into this space?
Yeah, it's across the board. You've got ad giants, traditional retailers, payment companies, even the AI labs themselves. Everyone's realizing they need very specific kinds of expertise to build this future.
Right.
It's not just about hiring like core AI researchers anymore, though obviously you need them.
Yeah.
But the sources show this real scramble for product leaders, people who can actually imagine these new user experiences, partnership builders who can connect all the different pieces, engineering talent, of course, for the back end, but crucially, commerce veterans, people who really deeply understand how shopping actually works today, the complexities of inventory, returns, customer behavior, all the nuts and bolts of the current e-commerce world.
That makes sense. You need people who know the existing problems.
Exactly. Tom Hurd from Ziki Data, he highlights this. He says it's less about needing entirely new types of engineers and more about adapting existing tech skills to the specific demands of e-commerce automation. The real frontier seems to be on the product side, figuring out what this AI-driven shopping experience should actually look and feel like for people.
So who are some of the key players? Can you give us some specific examples from the sources? Who's making big hires or launching things?
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing some really telling moves. Okay, look at PayPal. They brought in Prakhar Mehrotra, new role, Senior Vice President of AI. And his background is really interesting because it spans data science at huge places like Walmart, Uber, Twitter. Plus, he's deployed AI at Blackstone.
Wow, that's quite a resume.
Right. And he's tasked with developing AI agent payment tools, managing orders, basically aiming to position PayPal as, and this is a quote, the infrastructure for agents for commerce.
Ah, okay. Infrastructure.
Yeah. And they're also thinking about how small businesses get featured in these new AI searches, maybe using pricing tools.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If agents are doing the buying, that payment layer is a really critical control point, isn't it?
Exactly. Then you've got OpenAI. Huge move there. They're bringing in Fidji Simo. She's the current CEO of Instacart and a veteran from Meta before that.
Instacart CEO. Okay, that's big.
It's a huge signal. It really points towards OpenAI looking for ways to monetize, maybe through advertising or affiliate fees, potentially building a shopping feature right into ChatGPT, bringing in someone like Fidji who understands large-scale marketplaces and user experience. That's significant.
Yeah, definitely. Who else?
Microsoft is busy too. They hired Larry Kalajivani. He's got experience from eBay and also venture capital. He's overseeing e-commerce stuff within their Copilot chatbot.
Okay, like product listing.
Product listings, shopping ads, things like that. And he's also working on integrating AI shopping into Bing search and the Edge browser, so embedding it across their ecosystem.
Makes sense.
And think about Shopify. They support millions of independent merchants, right? So for them, this is critical. They appointed Carl Rivera, a longtime product exec, as chief design officer specifically to, quote, reimagine Shopify for this post-AI world.
Reimagine Shopify. That sounds ambitious.
It is, and Glenn Coates is leading an initiative that's super important for their merchants, making it easy for them to share structured product listing information directly with AI applications and agents. This is huge for letting smaller brands actually participate when AI agents start shopping around.
Right, giving them a way in.
Exactly. Then there are the AI search engines themselves. Perplexity, for instance. They hired Dhruv Bala, also from Instacart, actually. He's their head of consumer verticals now.
So they're expanding beyond just general search.
Yeah, looks like it. Their goal is to expand features for shopping and travel using data sources like TripAdvisor for hotels, for example.
Interesting. What about Google?
Google's definitely not sitting still.
Yeah.
They've got Jacqueline Konzelman, who used to work on Google Assistant, leading something called Project Mariner.
Project Mariner. What's that?
The sources describe it as an AI agent that's designed to literally use a standard web browser interface to perform tasks, including making purchases.
So they're teaching an AI to browse and buy like a person does.
Essentially, yeah. Kind of mimicking human behavior online.
Yeah.
And at Amazon, Rajiv Mehta, who worked on putting shopping features into Alexa devices, he's now leading the development of their Rufus shopping chatbot.
Okay, Amazon's building its own specific shopping bot.
Seems like it. And one more stripe, the payments company. Jeff Weinstein was named product-led for something they call agentic commerce.
Agentic commerce, that's the term.
That's the term for AI agents doing commerce tasks on their own. And he's focused on building services for these agents to actually handle payments, billing, even things like single-use virtual cards for security.
Wow. Okay, that list.
Yeah.
It really paints a clear picture. They're pulling talent from everywhere. Traditional e-commerce, digital wallets, big marketplaces like eBay, Instacart.
Yeah.
Sean Thorne from TrueSearch, he's mentioned the sources, and he really emphasizes that the good candidates, the ones getting hired in this talent war, they don't just need the tech skills. They need adaptability.
Right.
And a really strong consumer focus. Because let's face it, companies are still figuring out how people are really going to interact with these new AI shopping tools.
Absolutely. And, that brings us nicely to one of the major hurdles these AI tools are actually facing right now. Well, most existing retail websites, they just weren't built with AI agents in mind. Think about it. Product descriptions might be buried in paragraphs of text. Images might not have clear tags. Pricing can be tricky for a machine to reliably pull out, especially with sales or variations.
Right. It's messy data from an AI's perspective.
Exactly. It makes it really difficult for an AI agent to get accurate, real-time information. Things like precise specs, current stock levels, or the exact price right now.
So even if the AI itself is really smart, if the source data, the website data, isn't easy for it to understand, it's going to struggle.
Precisely. Which raises a really important question. How do we bridge that gap? How do we make all that product information truly accessible to AI?
Yeah, how do we do that?
The sources point to a really crucial part of the solution, getting everyone marketplaces like Instacart, StubHub, eBay, big retailers, and importantly, the brands themselves to share their product data in a much more structured, standardized way.
Okay, so it needs to be formatted so machines can read it easily.
You got it. And we're starting to see initiatives focus specifically on this. Microsoft, for example, they're encouraging brands and retailers to share product data directly with them. Why? To improve how those products show up in Copilot search results.
Ah, okay. A direct incentive.
Right. And like we mentioned, Shopify building that feature for its millions of merchants to easily share their product info directly with AI apps and agents. That's foundational. This sharing of structured data is just It's absolutely essential for AI shopping agents to actually work reliably and effectively.
Okay, so we've covered the broad disruption, the talent chase, this big data challenge. Now, let's bring it home. Let's apply this specifically to your world, the fashion industry. What does all this mean for designing, marketing, selling, or even just buying fashion online?
Well, think about how fashion discovery often happens. It's so visual, right? So much of it is driven by inspiration. And you see an amazing outfit on social media, maybe in a video, or even just someone walking down the street. And traditionally, translating that spark of inspiration into actually buying something is, well, it's a multi-step process.
Yeah, you try to figure out what it is, where it's from, search different sites, compare prices.
And half the time, you might never find the exact thing. Or maybe it's sold out in your size, or you just kind of give up after clicking around for 20 minutes.
Yeah, been there.
We all have. But AI agents, if they have access to that structured product data we talked about, they could potentially act on that inspiration much, much more directly.
How so?
Imagine showing an AI agent an image, or maybe just describing an outfit you saw. It could potentially identify similar items across tons of different retailers, instantly check availability in your size, compare prices, and maybe even handle the purchase.
So it makes that whole path from seeing something cool to actually owning it incredibly seamless.
That's the potential, yeah. Incredibly seamless.
That seamlessness,
Mm-hmm.
it seems particularly relevant for things like influencer marketing or, social commerce in general.
Absolutely.
If an influencer posts a picture wearing an outfit, an AI agent could, in theory, identify those specific items and make them immediately purchasable right from the brand's inventory. And actually, this is exactly where we're seeing platforms emerging to tackle this specific challenge head on. For instance, our sponsor, Cloutfit.ai, is designed to do just that.
Ah, okay.
It connects that influencer content, those really inspiring visuals, directly to your product inventory. So it makes the outfits they feature instantly shoppable, streamlining that whole discovery to purchase journey we were just talking about.
Right. Closing that gap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tools like that are specifically addressing this new landscape where making content easily shoppable, especially in an AI-driven world, is going to be absolutely key for driving sales and, higher order value. You can visit cloutfit.ai, that's CLOUTFIT.ai, to learn more about how that works.
And that really highlights the broader point for anyone in fashion e-commerce right now. The shift towards these AI-driven, potentially more seamless experiences. It means you really need to be thinking hard about how your product data is structured. Is it accessible to these emerging AI platforms? How can you integrate with these new tools? How can you leverage technology, like the example you just gave, to make your visual content instantly shoppable? And that talent war we discussed, it means you also need people on your team who understand not just fashion trends, but also this whole evolving AI commerce world.
So let's push this a bit further then, thinking ahead. If these AI agents do become a primary way people shop, maybe searching across countless sites, optimizing for price or delivery speed,
Yeah.
making purchases without the shopper ever really landing on the brand's beautifully designed website, what does that actually mean for things like building brand loyalty or creating that unique online store experience that brands spend so much time on? Is the digital storefront, as we kind of know it today, is it destined to change fundamentally? Something to think about. Okay, that was quite a deep dive into the AI shopping race, the talent fueling it, and what it all means, particularly for fashion e-commerce.
Yeah, I think the core takeaway really is that companies are moving fast. They're rapidly hiring and building the infrastructure for a completely new era of online shopping, one that's going to be driven by AI agents. And getting that product data structured and shareable is it's essential for this future to work.
It's clearly a space that's changing incredibly quickly. Staying on top of how AI is reshaping discovery, purchase, everything, it's absolutely crucial. And a big thank you again to Cloutfit.ai for supporting this deep dive. They help brands connect influencer outfits directly to their product inventory, making content instantly shoppable and helping drive sales. Remember, that's CLUTEFIT.ai. We really hope this exploration gave you some valuable insights today. If you found it useful, please do share it with someone you think would also benefit. And of course, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our future deep dives.